What is going on, embodied creators? This is David Lyon, founder of Evolving Man. So in this video, I want to talk about how our education system puts us on the completely wrong track when it comes to becoming an embodied creator. And so in this video, I want to talk about what is this wrong track, what is the track that actually leads to a much more effective path of learning, and how we can switch from one to the other. So personally, this is a really important video because it took me a long time to understand that, and I see this as one of the biggest reasons why people get stuck in self-doubts and perfectionism and not daring to just try things out. And that's the following. Our education system is set up in a way where you are not at all encouraged in coming up with your own ideas, so solving problems creatively, but where you are rewarded for solving problems in exactly the way that your teachers want you to solve them. And I have a very practical example of this. When I was studying psychology in Germany, we had a subject called Theory of Science, very fascinating subject, and a friend of mine found it deeply fascinating, and he read more stuff than anyone else, and he did a lot beyond what was needed in the course. And when it came to the exam, he answered the questions from his full perspective of all the things that he read, instead of just answering like the bullet points that were on the slides from our teacher, from our lecturer. And he actually failed the exam. And then he had to redo it, and he had to learn the bullet points by heart, and then he got a really good grade. And so for me, this is a really fascinating example of what we're being taught in our education system. And what comes with that is we get put into a mode of looking for the right answer. And so already that, for me, in many facets, is not how life works, because usually there's not just one answer. Usually when we're being creative, we can find a lot of solutions to one problem. So we already narrow down when we don't go, okay, cool, here's a problem, let's be creative about it and find a solution. But okay, here's a problem and I need to find the one solution. What's the right thing to do right now? And so with that comes a big aversion to failing. Now, I think that is also deep in our own biology, but I think it's being increased through our education system that failing is bad. And so this is so far from the truth in my experience of how we truly learn. And so now I was describing kind of the path that we're being put on. What is the other path? The other path is understanding that our learning comes from trial and error. And I'm actually just reading a book that is talking about this, called Fooled by Randomness by Nicholas Nassim Taleb. And he says we very much exaggerate the importance and power of academia and the institutions, because he says most inventions and most progress in our society does not come from these places. It comes from individuals who are maybe exploring something on one subject, but then find something that can be used in a completely different way. And so he makes the point that trial and error is still the most effective way of learning. Now, when you are put into a place where you have been taught that making mistakes is wrong, it feels fucking terrifying to be like, okay, here's this problem, I have no idea what to do about it, but I'm just gonna try something out, and then I'll have like a first result, and then I can take it from there. Like, to go into this mode, it takes like a retraining of your brain to get almost excited about failing. Like I shared in a different video, I've started becoming obsessed with chess, and I suck at it really badly, but I really enjoy it. I really enjoy making the mistakes and then seeing, oh wow, I could have solved this completely differently. Or if you want to take a good example of this, look at the videos that I created at the beginning of Evolving Man. From my perspective now, they're absolutely terrible, but I had to start somewhere. And so if I would have stayed in that place of, well, I can only start going out into the public once my videos are good, I probably would never have started. And for me, this is the biggest point that is holding back embodied creators, is from this perspective that's been put into us from our education system. You'll never be good enough to start doing what you want to be doing, and you'll always make too many mistakes. And so in this mode, it's impossible to be creative, and it's impossible to create new solutions, which is basically what you're doing all the time as an embodied creator. You're going to face challenges, you're going to face problems, and many of them no one ever has solved. And so you're going to create your own solutions, and then with that, you're going to be able to share it with other people and say, look what I found. Look, I started doing this, and this really works for me. So what can we do to change our mindset and to move more towards the second path of embracing trial and error and embracing imperfection? One is watching a video like this and just hearing someone who has accomplished at least a few things saying, this is how I do it. Because the scariest thing is when we're the only ones doing it through trial and error. Okay? So then second thing is, don't just listen to one person, but really start finding communities where it's being normalized to fail. Because I think one of the biggest fears that we have is to be rejected and shamed when we show up with others and are open about our own failures and insecurities and so on. So once you start having a community of people around you where you go, hey, I tried this out and I failed massively, and people are going to be like, so cool that you tried it, rock on, just keep going. Well, what kind of support do you need from us so you can do it? Which is very different from, oh my God, that's so embarrassing that you tried this out, you're ridiculous, and so on and so forth. And I mean, those fears are real inside of our bodies. And then the third thing is, at some point you're gonna face I'll just have to start doing it. And I haven't found a easy way to get people to get into this place of, I'm just starting to do it. Like for me, it was the price, I could feel the price for not starting to do it, for not trying things out, was so big that I was like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna start doing it. It's probably gonna feel terrible, I'll hate it, but to wait any longer with sharing my message and putting myself out there just feels terrible. And so that's how I started. And I think it's just good to understand that this is like this first step. It's never gonna feel easy. Like this is where you access the warrior masculine side of you, where like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it right now. It's gonna feel new and exciting and scary and embarrassing and all these things, and I'm just gonna push through. And the more often you do that, the more normal it'll feel. And the more you can also become a role model for others to go out there, to try things out. Because again, this is the way that we learn. We don't learn from taking on a lot of theory until we have figured everything out and then we do exactly the right step. That's just not how it works, okay? So let me know in the comments if this resonates, if you have found ways for yourself to just start doing it. And as always with Evolving Men and Embodied Creators, you're seen, you're loved, you're appreciated. Keep evolving, keep creating, and I shall talk to you soon. Peace.